Every journey has a beginning, a first step, a first quest, a wooden club in hand. Before we wielded the mightiest weapons of Azeroth, we started somewhere. No matter how far we go, how many battles we fight, how much time passes, we come back right here. So, cheers for the new beginning. One month later.
How many times have you quit it just to come back again? And why do we keep coming back to World of Warcraft? Is it just the nostalgia? Or is it adventure? Or maybe the memories of stepping into Azeroth for the first time? Or is it something deeper, something wired into our brains that make this world feel like a home? Today, we break down the psychology behind WoW's grip on players, why nostalgia rewires our brains, why leveling feels so immersive, and why this game refuses to let us go. So, have you ever logged into WoW Classic and suddenly it's 2006 again? It's not just a memory, it's a strange feel. To truly get it, we need to talk about the first reason behind the cherished experience, and it's nostalgia, the core of it all. It's an emotional mix of happiness and longing, triggered by past memories and a deep sentimental connection to meaningful moments, places and people. But according to one of the researchers, nostalgia isn't just about remembering the past, it connects us to our identity, because studies show that nostalgia triggers two key brain areas, the hippocampus, or the memory storage, makes those long-lasting meaningful gaming moments, places and people at least stay with you in your memory. These memories are more like echoes of the world we live in, a world where every moment felt surreal, where every smallest victory meant something. And now I want you to recall the first time you took down a wild boar in the starting zone. The first ability, the first talent. Or do you maybe remember that hop hunting first fight in Australian to whale against a player of an opposite faction? The long quiet night spent walking tirelessly across the map by foot or fishing by a moonlit lake. Now wait, you are not just recalling gaming moments, but the vibe, the music, the feeling of coming home from school, dropping your backpack, not worrying about what happens tomorrow. You spend nights playing WoW in your dark, cozy corner of the room, chatting with your guildmates, living something you'll later remember and feel, even though you are no longer in that moment. But to activate more than just a memory, nostalgia goes deeper. It activates another crucial part of the brain called amygdala, responsible for emotional processing, and that makes you actually feel the warmth of these moments that you are strongly connected with. Think of it like opening an old, dusty chest and suddenly hearing the sound, smelling the air and feeling for a brief moment the rush of those almost forgotten days. And that's only possible when the amygdala lights up, coloring those moments with a glow of emotion that makes them timeless. You know what? I'll stop talking for a bit. Sometimes the best way to remember is just to feel. So go ahead, let yourself drift for a moment, and I promise I'll be back shortly. Alright, you felt that, didn't you? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I might lose retention time because of it. And of course I'm just kidding, but here's the thing. We don't just return to World of Warcraft for the world itself. We also return for the people inside of it. So is the social side. By that we mean the feeling of missing guild chats, late night raids, and the bonds formed with other players, making the virtual world feel like home. You see, when you spend hours in game chatting, trading, laughing, your brain was lighting up in very real ways. It helps us connect, empathize, and form long-term bonds. And yep, we're talking about prefrontal cortex, the social compass of your brain, responsible for decision-making and social behavior. That social compass remembers every dungeon run, every guild invite, every duel, every wave to a stranger. You are socially engaged. It processes social connections and the meanings we assign to specific moments. And for example, when you remember the laughter in Discord with your guild, the prefrontal cortex links that moment to a sense of belonging. So WoW was a social ecosystem. You weren't playing the game, you were living inside of a community. The brain doesn't just remember what happened, it remembers who was there. And yet, what happens when even that community starts fading? When your guildmates, the one who shaped your journey, haven't logged in for years. Even if you escaped into a second reality, time moved on. And now those names you once knew like a family are just like echoes in the air. And that hurts even if you never met them in person. All that left is silence, but memories aren't made of people, actions or choices alone. But in fact, some of the most powerful ones are shaped by what we heard, what we felt, the sound that stuck with us long after we logged off. That's where the temporal lobe steps in. And yeah, you might say, wait a second, didn't we already cover this with amygdala? But not really. Think about all the voices saved and stored and still echoing inside your head. From I need more mana and all that's followed by it, to the blood elf sounds that seem like they are judging you all the time, the nicknames that thrown in your guild chat, even the rhythm of typing BRB dinner. All that's in somewhere deep inside your temporal lobe. But here's the strange part. Even if we group nostalgia and the social bonds together, there is still one more reason we keep coming back to this seemingly imaginary world full of happiness, success and relief. A reason that runs deeper. It's a quiet urge to escape the real world full of pressure, deadlines and failures and retreat into a place where things made sense. But maybe that's the point, it's not always about where you are going. Sometimes it's about what you are running from, the silence, the chaos, the real world that didn't feel like home. So you went back to where you once felt seen, valued, even if no one else was still there. And all of that leads us to quietest reason of them all, the pull to escape. Escapism, which is considered as act of using games to escape reality, often for stress relief, social interaction, or a sense of achievement in a virtual space. And maybe we didn't just escape to run away, maybe we escaped to feel the real progress, the structure and the clarity of process. Because in games like WoW, the feeling of achievement isn't abstract, it's real, it's measured. You do quests, kill mobs, you level up. You spam the dungeons or tirelessly try to farm that one item and you get the item, eventually.
No fucking way, bro. No fucking way, bro.
You grind, you max the profession. You always know what's next and what it means to get there. This creates a psychological illusion of control, something our brains crave. It taps into what psychologists call operant conditioning, where consistent actions lead to predictable rewards. And in uncertain times, that predictability becomes a powerful source of comfort. But one thing is certain, and we can all agree on that. That comfort is kind of relief the real world doesn't always offer. Out there everything is vague. Plans fall apart, expectations change without warning, deadlines shift, and success is somehow always blurry. And of course, not everything comes down to structure and control. Sometimes it's the opposite, the thrill of not knowing what you'll get. It's the rush of excitement every time you open a chest, wondering if that's the one you need. That feeling of what's inside keeps you hooked, because no matter what, there's always a chance. Just like a slot machine lighting up with coins and sounds, that randomness, that moment of chance lights up the same reward pathway triggered during the gambling, and that's dopamine. And in the end, it's not just the loot we remember or the rewards we chased, it's the feeling they unlocked. Tiny sparks that etched entire worlds into our memory. Somewhere between the first quest we dared to take and the last campfire where we shared a laugh. The colors of those memories still wait, quietly to be brought back to life. For some, these memories live in the music that played when they first set a foot on a new land. For others, it's a place, a quest, or even a feeling, that fleeting sense of escape from the real world. The zones we wandered through, the friends we fought beside, all of those are still waiting there, just a heartbeat away. And maybe that's the reason why we never really left this world. Thanks for watching and see you soon.